Nokia.
The Nokia mobile phone is really all about accelerating.
CEO Steve Jobs unveiling what many are calling a revolutionary new product, the iPhone.
Two guys have passed us, and it's Apple and Samsung.
Nokia is facing challenging and very dynamic times. The game has changed from a battle of devices to a war of ecosystems.
In the early 1990s, a quiet revolution was brewing in the cold landscapes of Finland. From the small town of Espoo, a company named Nokia was about to rewrite the rules of global communication. At a time when mobile phones were considered luxury items, bulky, expensive, and owned only by businessmen, Nokia saw the future differently. They envisioned a world where a phone was not just a device, but an essential part of everyday life. What set Nokia apart was its speed, adaptability, and fearless innovation. By 1992, under CEO Jorma Ollila, Nokia abandoned all other industries, cables, rubber, and televisions, to focus solely on telecommunications. Many thought this gamble would sink them, but it instead launched them into history. By the mid-1990s, Nokia was producing sleek, reliable, and affordable mobile phones for the masses. Models like the Nokia 2110 introduced the now iconic ringtone, while their early adoption of GSM technology set them apart from competitors still clinging to outdated networks. Then came the real breakthrough: design. The colorful, interchangeable faceplates of the Nokia 5110 and the nearly indestructible 3310 turned their phones into cultural icons. These devices weren't just tools, they became symbols of style, durability, and status. By 1998, Nokia had become the world's largest mobile phone maker. Their devices appeared everywhere: city streets, remote villages, even in the hands of travelers deep in the mountains. Nokia became synonymous with mobile communication, connecting people in ways humanity had never experienced before. But behind the celebrations loomed a question: what happens when you've reached the top? History has shown that the higher you rise, the harder you can fall. The early 2000s marked Nokia's golden age. In 2003 alone, they sold over 180 million phones, holding more than a third of the global market, reaching as high as 70% in some countries. Their dominance came from a mix of relentless innovation, reliability, and unmatched global distribution. From executives in New York to farmers in rural India, there was a Nokia for everyone. They didn't just make hardware, they built a culture. The addictive snake game, legendary battery life, and incredible durability became part of daily life. People didn't just use Nokia, they trusted it. Brand power was another weapon. While rivals fought for scraps, Nokia reigned in over 150 countries. A new Nokia launch was a global event, celebrated on billboards, TV ads, and tech magazines. Financially, they were a juggernaut. By 2007, revenues peaked above $75 billion, and they held the crown as the most valuable brand in mobile. From the outside, they seemed untouchable, but the moment a giant feels invincible is when the fall begins. While Nokia enjoyed its golden age, a silent revolution was underway, one that would redefine the very meaning of a mobile phone, and Nokia wasn't ready. In 2007, Apple unveiled the iPhone, a sleek touchscreen device that felt more like a pocket computer. Nokia's leadership didn't panic. They saw it as a niche luxury, too costly for mass adoption, too fragile for everyday life. They'd beaten Motorola, Siemens, Ericsson. Why would this be any different? But the change wasn't just Apple. Google had been quietly developing Android, an open-source operating system that would power devices from countless manufacturers. The competition shifted from making the toughest phone to making the smartest one. Inside Nokia, cracks began to form. They already had a smartphone platform, Symbian, but it was outdated, slow, and never built for the fluid, app-based experience consumers now demanded. Engineers and designers warned of the threat, but bureaucracy slowed decisions. Nokia had become a massive ship, and massive ships don't turn quickly. The world was moving toward ecosystems, app stores, and seamless internet experiences. Consumers wanted more than sturdy hardware. They wanted a digital world in their pocket. Apple and Android delivered it. Nokia didn't. The storm had arrived, and Nokia was sailing straight into it, without a clear map to survive. Then came the cultural problem. Nokia's success had always been built on hardware innovation, but the new era demanded a software-first mindset. Apps, touchscreens, ecosystems. These weren't Nokia's strengths. Instead of fully reinventing themselves, they doubled down on what they knew best: durability, durable, reliable, feature-rich phones. But the definition of feature-rich had changed overnight. Consumers now expected app stores, smooth touch navigation, and seamless internet browsing. Nokia's Symbian devices felt slow, clunky, and outdated compared to the sleek, glassy screens of Apple and Samsung. By 2009, the warning signs were everywhere. Market share slipped, revenue growth stalled, and for the first time in over a decade, Nokia looked vulnerable. Yet boardrooms remained cautiously optimistic. They still had brand loyalty, massive distribution, and dominance in emerging markets. But in technology, loyalty fades quickly. Once customers see something better, they don't return. The storm had arrived. Nokia was sailing straight into it without a clear survival plan. By 2010, the writing was on the wall. Smartphones weren't a passing trend, they were the future. Millions still bought Nokia phones, but those sales hit a deeper crisis. Loyal users were defecting to Apple's iOS and the rapidly expanding Android ecosystem from Samsung, HTC, and others. Nokia tried to modernize Symbian, but it was too old, too rigid, and too difficult to adapt. Every update felt like patching a sinking ship. Frustration grew. Engineers blamed slow decision-making. Managers clung to outdated strategies, and innovation stalled under corporate politics. Then came one of the most controversial moves in tech history. In 2011, new CEO Stephen Elop issued the infamous burning platform memo, warning that Nokia was in danger of being consumed by competition if it didn't act fast. His solution? Abandon Symbian entirely and partner with Microsoft to use Windows Phone. It was bold, but risky. Windows Phone looked promising, but was late to the market. By the time Nokia's Lumia series arrived, the world had chosen sides. Apple and Android already had massive app stores, developer communities, and loyal followings. Windows Phone, though elegant, was an empty house. Beautiful to look at, but with little to keep users. Sales plunged. In 2012, Samsung overtook Nokia as the world's largest phone maker, ending a 14-year reign. By 2013, their smartphone market share had collapsed to a shadow of its former self. Then came the final blow. In September 2013, Nokia sold its phone business to Microsoft for $7.2 billion. For millions, it felt like losing an old friend. The brand that had carried their first texts, calls, and memories was gone. But the sale didn't save the brand. Under Microsoft, Nokia's phones struggled even more, eventually disappearing from the market almost entirely. The giant that once ruled the mobile world had fallen, and there was no way back. The real tragedy. Nokia didn't die because it lacked technology or talent. It died because it failed to see the future when it was staring right at them. After the sale to Microsoft, the Nokia name slowly faded from the shelves. For a while, the brand existed in limbo, still known, still respected, but no longer relevant in the conversation about the future of mobile technology. The fall was swift, but the shadow of its legacy lingered. By 2016, even Microsoft gave up on its Windows Phone ambitions, selling off the remnants of Nokia's phone division. In an ironic twist, the Nokia brand would eventually return to the market through HMD Global, a Finnish company that licensed the name to produce Android-powered Nokia smartphones. These devices carried the nostalgia of the old brand, but they no longer shaped the industry's direction. They were following it. The real story of Nokia's collapse isn't just about one company's failure. It's a cautionary tale for every business that believes past success guarantees future dominance. Nokia's fall showed that in the tech world, speed and adaptability matter more than size and history. The very qualities that had made them great, confidence in their engineering, faith in their products, loyalty to their existing platform, became weaknesses when the market shifted. But perhaps the most painful lesson is that innovation without vision is never enough. Nokia had brilliant engineers, iconic designs, and unmatched reach, yet they underestimated the importance of software ecosystems and user experience. While they were focused on building the perfect phone, Apple and Google were building the perfect world for those phones to live in. Still, the Nokia story isn't without hope. Today, the brand survives in networking technology and licensed consumer devices, proving that even after a fall, a company can find new life, if it's willing to evolve. And for the millions who once owned a Nokia 3310 or 6600, the name still brings a smile, a memory, a sense of connection to a time when mobile phones were simpler, sturdier, and somehow more personal. In the end, Nokia's journey from king of phones to near nothingness is a reminder. No matter how high you climb, the summit is never permanent. The market doesn't pause for nostalgia. It rewards those who are already preparing for the next climb while still at the top. And as the tech world races forward, one can't help but wonder, Which of today's giants will be tomorrow's forgotten legend? The Nokia story is more than a tale of business. It's a story of ambition, dominance, and a cautionary fall from grace. It's about how a company can rise from a small Finnish town to control more than a third of the global phone market, and then watch it all slip away, not because of a single mistake, but because of a series of choices made too late. For years, Nokia was untouchable. Their devices were in the hands of over 1 billion people. They didn't just connect calls, they connected lives. But technology is a battlefield where yesterday's victory means nothing if you're not ready for tomorrow's fight. The lesson here is universal. Success without adaptation is simply a countdown to failure. As we look back at Nokia's journey, we can't help but feel a mix of nostalgia and what if. What if they had embraced smartphones earlier? What if they had built their own app ecosystem? Could the story have ended differently? Perhaps. But in business, there are no rewinds, only lessons. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, or simply someone who once loved the sound of that iconic Nokia ringtone, remember this: greatness must be protected by constant reinvention. The world doesn't slow down for anyone, not even a king. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who remembers the Nokia days, and subscribe for more in-depth business documentaries. Because in the fast-moving world of innovation, today's headlines are tomorrow's history, and we're here to tell those stories.